Hugs and Ear Scratches in Pony Prison, the first and last sequel. The large overbearing steel bars are shut behind the prison guard as she leaves your cell. She turns to look back at you and winks. She then begins to walk away, holding herself as upright as possible, but if you were to look closely, you could notice a slight wobble in her legs. You take a seat back down onto your bed that creaks heavily as it clearly wasn't made for you. A relieved sigh escapes your lips as you look out the barred windows to the stars beyond before laying down and going to sleep for the night.
"Rise and shine!"
shouted one of the guards.
"I hope you all had a lovely night. Breakfast will be in an hour."
You shuffle out of bed, then stretch before beginning your morning routine. As your back curves mid-stretch, there's a pop-pop and a crack all the way down your back as you work out the stiffness that you've suffered on a long night in a bed that might as well be a brick. Your empty stomach churns as you think of the gruel that you'll be fed. That's perfectly normal for ponies, and they have stuff for the Minotaur and Griffins that are imprisoned here. Only, they still haven't got around to serving anything that's appetizing for you. But you are only one human, after all.
"Are we still on for this morning, Anonymous?"
calls a voice from the open doorway. You turn and see one of the guards, the one that was visiting you last night to be exact, a particularly clingy one. A cream coat with a green mane, dressed up in a blue prison guard uniform. Mint Splash is her name. You can see her tongue poking out in the corner of her mouth as she attempts to bite down on it, preventing herself from licking her lips. You nod to her, then without another word, she leaves. Just as you're about to get back to shaving, some pony else enters the doorway.
"Who was that?"
asks Cookies and Cream. She's got a light creamy brown coat, a brown mane with a white streak tied into a ponytail, and wearing the famed blue shirt and hat uniform. On top of that, she's also one of the guards that you know best here. Recalling that does make your body shiver a little, though. "That's Mint Splash," you reply promptly. "She's just checking up on me." Cookies and Cream wanders into your cell in a poor attempt of trying to look nonchalant. When she steps behind you, there's a sudden sharp inhale. Did you just smell me?" The blush radiating off of Cookies and Cream's face and ears is enough to change the temperature in the room by a full degree.
My nose is blocked. I have a cold. That's all."
Right. There's a long drawn-out pause between the two of you, and that gets more awkward with every heartbeat. The whole time you continue your morning routine, while Cookies and Cream just stares at you. Your eyes lock with hers in the mirror's reflection, and then she pulls her gaze away and then begins to step away. Cookies and Cream mumbles before staring back, only to then leave without saying anything further. You just shake your head and then continue about your morning. While standing in line at the cafeteria between two mean-looking griffins that you know are only in here for shoving, your mind runs on autopilot. You shuffle to your right in time as soon as the line moves, your plastic tray sliding across with you on the rails. Ladles and scoops of slop are slapped onto your tray as you move along. None of it sounds appealing, and looks even worse.
"Psst, Anonymous."
You look around before your eyes fall onto one of the cafeteria mares hiding around the corner. You walk over to her and throw your tray into the bin along the way.
"Here, I got the stuff that you asked for,"
she says eagerly, while proffering out a few packets of various snacks. You reach out to grab one, but she snatches them back, clutching them firmly to her chest.
"Hey, we had a deal."
You're right. Here. You reach out with your hand, cupping the side of her face gently. You begin to stroke it, running your fingers through her soft fur. The cafeteria mare's eyes flutter closed, and a very pleased noise escapes those soft lips. Then your fingers drift upwards behind her ear to begin to scratch in gentle circles at first, and then you run a rhythm, each finger scratching in turn like a wave while your thumb rubs the cartilage of her ear. One of her hind legs begins to shake. That is until you begin to pick up the pressure when it begins to kick, showing that you found the right spot. You can hear a low soft moan rumbling in the bottom of the throat. It's deep and bassy, but then it's killed off the moment you stop.
Why'd you stop?"
She pants in between heavy breaths.
"We were just getting to the good part."
Look, we can't stay too long, otherwise we might get caught. But as an apology, won't you keep some of those and I'll give you more for the rest another time? The mare collects herself, then shoves all the packets into your arms.
"I don't want you to think of me as ungrateful,"
she replies before hastily returning to her post. You're a little surprised at first, but you're not about to turn her down. You rose to your feet, opened a packet of sweetbread, and then found a seat where you could chow down. A few of the other inmates curiously gaze at you, though you pay them no mind, knowing fully that you're safe and aware that none of them will say anything to you. You're here on a sentence of 1 year after getting into a fight, one of the harshest crimes in Equestria, so it gives you an air of danger. There isn't another single inmate with a sentence more than half of yours, so it acts as a sort of reputation of big man on campus. They're afraid of you. While it's lonely at times, and definitely not what you expected, you find other ways to keep yourself busy. And you've even found a way to trade a few favors for favors around here, so you're actually able to live a pretty cushiony life, despite the, incarceration. Looking around the room, you can see many of your fellow inmates whispering about you to one another. But every time you look one group's way, all their eyes are immediately averted. You take another bite of your snack, and nod head to yourself.
There is no way that you can eat all these.
Says what sounds like cookies and cream. All you notice is a creamy brown-colored hoof whiff past and grab a packet, and by the time you've turned around, they're already passing the corner. But you're almost certain that it was her. No pony else would be so brazen as to do that to you.
Hey, it's just that I'm not sure about doing this, you know?
The uneasy mare shuffles awkwardly on the spot before you. She has a dark purple coat and a dark blue mane with clips to keep the bangs out of her eyes. Though you're not aware of her name. This is the first time that you've met her, and there's something about another pony or creature knowing who you are without you knowing them. And that makes you really uncomfortable. I don't want you to feel pressured, you reply, soothingly as possible. You don't have to if you don't want to. But then again, you're a unique species in a relatively small community, and you've got the biggest sentence of anyone here. So in a strange way, you're kind of a celebrity. Everyone knows you.
Oh, no, it's not that I don't want to.
Your reputation gets ahead of you. It seems like everyone you talk to knows what you're about and what you do. You've been in small towns before where gossip travels so fast that it's not as if this was a surprise. Then, is there anything I could do to make you feel more comfortable? And it serves its purpose in a way, but there are definitely negatives that come with such forward-reaching notoriety.
Well, it's a little embarrassing to even ask.
The mare smiles and shyly looks away as a blush begins to develop on her cheeks. After a bit more pondering, you let this train of thought fade away. It serves barely any purpose at all other than making you feel a little glum. Look, as long as you're okay with the idea of me potentially saying no, then you're more than welcome to ask. Your warm glow of a smile radiates soothing. Or at least you hope it does. It's probably possible that you could stand one more night on the concrete slab that they call a mattress, however any more of that in your back may not make it.
Okay, well, if you're okay with it, that is.
Murmurs the mare, continuing to shuffle, which seems almost trademark at this point. She then takes a breath and opens her mouth to speak, only to fall silent, and then she inhales once more and asks,
Could you say my name during it? It's Topag.
A huff of air comes out of your nose as an unused remark. So she knows. There's a thought that bubbles to the surface. You nod and she smiles, quite happily. So much so that you can't help a smile in return. Okay, Topag. You answer with arms outstretched. At first, she's a little hesitant. She gingerly steps towards you, but once you can feel her warmth pressing up against you, she falls deeper into you. Her soft coat tickles your skin, and you can feel her tense body slowly unstiffen as she accepts your embrace more and more with each passing second. It was like some gravity-like force was pushing her as she fell, as her acceptance turned to want and then turned into need faster and faster. You then hear a soft whisper in your ear.
Please.
Not wanting to pressure her into pleading any further, you tighten your grip around her, pulling her closer to your body, and she gives a little squeak. Tote bag. Muffled noises of pleasure can be heard in the crook between your shoulder and chest, where a tote bag has her face buried. Then with your nails, you run them up her back, the fur on her coat parting as you leave light scratches on the skin underneath. She shudders against your body before biting down onto your shirt to muffle any more noise. Tote bag. You whisper once more, as then you wrap her around with one arm, and then with the other run it through the back of her mane, your fingers rhythmically scratching. There is now a distinct wet patch on your shirt thanks to tote bag, but you don't mind too much. It's a little cold anyway, so you continue the current embrace for a few minutes before letting her go and letting her clap onto the puddle of the floor that she is. On her face is one of the most broadest and most satisfied smiles that you've seen in a while. It's kinda nice to see. So you'll sort out my mattress? A hummed is the only response that you receive. It might have been agreement, just acknowledgement, or pleasurable noises as the afterglow takes her away from reality. Either way, you let it go and head back to your cell. You twist and adjust for a more comfortable position to no avail. Instead, you lie there, looking up at the ceiling and pondering about nothing, really. Thoughts about your life, who you are and where you are, drifting about with no real rhyme or reason to any of them. There's not much to be gained thinking about that sort of stuff right now, but you have little else to do. You wonder if there's someone that you could convince to bring you some books, or maybe go so far as to do another favor.
Anonymous?
Hey, man. You promptly cut yourself off as you sit up when you lock eyes with Cookies and Cream, who is standing there on the other side of your cell door. Oh, hey, you call out.
Hey!
Hey? Then Cookies and Cream rifles through her pocket for the key. Once she has it, she gingerly places it into the lock and slowly turns it. There's an audible click once it's unlocked, but not loud enough for the others to hear. So what brings you here?
I need to ask you something.
It's gotten quite dark, but even with a moon and stars, you can see enough of her face to see that it was contorted into a stressed expression. You straighten up and try to back away on your bed, which only really had your back pressed firmly against the wall. Ask away, you say tentatively. Cookies and Cream begins to pace up and down your cell, her gaze looking towards the floor with a furrowed brow. She does this for a few more seconds and then stops, turns towards you, and takes an authoritative step.
So, I've been speaking to the other girls.
Okay.
And they tell me that you've... I don't know how to describe it, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
You nod, and give a half-hearted shrug. That's just a favor for a favor. Cookies and Cream looks you up and down carefully, and then she lets out a sigh. A quick but exasperated one.
You shouldn't cheapen yourself like that,
states Cookies and Cream. However, there's something in her voice, and as you can't place what it is, you're not totally sure if you should be uncomfortable about it or not. Thinking about what she said now, you do feel like the strangest prostitute of all time. Though also weirdly enough, you feel okay with that.
These hands, Anonymous. There's nothing cheap.
Her voice lowers into something more smooth and breathy.
About what they can do.
She takes a finger into her mouth, deep. Then she pulls back her head and she opens her mouth while running her tongue along it. Strings of saliva keep your finger and her mouth connected even after she pulls away. Then Cookies and Cream presses her head into your arms, grabs your shirt with her teeth, and guides you into laying back down onto your bed.
I'm not sure which I need first.
You hear from down low, as she expertly undoes the lowest button on your shirt with her teeth and lips.
Your hands are on my face.
As one more button is undone.
Or how about my back and hips?
You feel her hot breath running up your stomach before another is gone.
Or maybe...
Then her tongue runs along the skin to the next button.
My belly.
She picks the next button up with her tongue and with barely any effort undoes it and moves on to the next final button. Her breathing is very heavy, and you find even yours is too. You still keep your hands at your side so you don't touch her and somehow interrupt what she's doing.
I need your...
And with that, the final button is undone. Her mouth is now right beside your neck. The air is hot, your hands twitch with eagerness to touch, and you feel sweat pooling at your brow.
Body,
she utters singularly. You can hear desire as if it came from deep below, the sound of it almost dripping onto you. You are in for a very long night. I apologize very much for the snowblower that you probably heard. Also, Cookies and Cream, I can't tell if she's just that desperate for cuddles and ear scritches and shit like that, or if she's genuinely horny. I can't tell the difference, although one thing's for certain, yeah, he really is in for a long night. Anywho, let's get on to our sweet, sweet donators. Top donators dash of Evergreen, Peter Coulthard, J Tinman, Darkside, and Ponyman. CourierCruz CI, Strix, Zar630, Narwhals, Delta Omega, RuneScythe9852, Dospo, Ryanny Dragonwolf, Hunter Norman, Austin Roland, Secret Moon, Tall Russia, The Toilet Snake, Sword Brother and Mordred, Ronin Wandering, Andrai63, Random Person Man Guy, Easy, Jack Cadge, Starlight Glimmer, Squiddy Boy, David E. Sanchez, Soul Dragon, Gaki, Trey, Shadow Drake, Joe Piercy, Alex F., Rainbow Dash, Teal K. Anderson, TV Killer, John Becker, Leon Reynolds, Zach Rakau, Mr. ECU, Leslie Prickett, Edgar Garcia, One Kingdom 1, Nissa Rusan, Vazuri, Dyslexic Character Sheets, and Just a Random Boy. Thank you all very much for watching this video, and live life to the fullest.